If you can please give a big round of applause to our first poet of the night, Janine Booth. Normal works from 9 to 5. Normal wants to learn to drive. Normal never thinks aloud. Normal blends into the crowd. Normal laughs at normal jokes. Normal hangs out with the blokes. Normal's reading normal books. Normal sticks to normal looks. Normal isn't weird or strange. Normal sees no need for change. Normal's aspirational, non-denominational. Norman's normal, that's okay. Ava's average, come what may. But Zeke's a freak and Toddy's odd and Jane's a punishment from God. Normal's limbs all work just fine. Normal's sits with neutral spine. Normal's straight in every sense. Normal's sitting on the fence. Normal's happy with its gender. Normal man is none too tender. Normal woman not too tough. But normal isn't good enough. So normal craves success and fame. Normal isn't quite the same for women as it is for men. Normal goes to bed at 10. Normal's hers and normal's his. Normal's what it says it is. Normal thinks how normal should. Normal thinks that normal's good. Normal keeps you in and cool. Keeps you safe from ridicule. Because normal folk are never cruel to fellow normals, as a rule. Normal's neither thin nor fat. Who the fuck decided that? Is this definition formal? Who determines what is normal? Normal tricked and normal lied. I couldn't be normal if I tried. So, hello. I'm Janine, and my next poem is a poem of two halves, a bit like a football match, poem of two halves. The first half is about what it's like being autistic in a hostile society, and the second half is about what kind of society we might fight to create in which it wouldn't be a pain in the backside being autistic, and it wouldn't be distressing being autistic. So it's kind of like a manifesto. So it's called Manifesto from Behind the Mask. Make me a mask so that no one can see that the face that I'm wearing is not really me. Get me a glaze to go over my eyes so it looks like I'm looking while I'm melting inside. Fetch me some specs that can read between lines. Fit me antennae to pick up the signs. Lend me a lens that reads unwritten rules. Bless me with patience to help suffer fools. Find me a Babel fish trained to translate the looks and the hints and the traps and the bait. Arm me with ammo so I'm never caught in the crossfire of banter without a retort. Fit me a filter to sift out distraction. Teach me a trick to predict a reaction. Create me a coat like the back of a duck so that nothing will stick when they throw enough muck. Install me a switch that can switch off my thinking. Considering, probing, deciphering, linking. At least fit a dimmer or a slow-mo or pause that can turn down the volume or close all the doors. Give me that gift that they call inhibition so I know when to hush and reserve my position. Program an app that decodes all the crap. Build me a bridge across the processing gap. Alternatively, make me a world where not every place is buzzing with noise and invading my space. Set up society so you can converse and I can obsess and neither is worse. Where statements are clear and where reasoning's sound. Where some holes are square because not all pegs are round. Where life on a spectrum is not to be feared. Diversity's normal and no one is weird. Ditch the insistence that all must conform. Broaden our meaning of what is the norm. Change the arrangements, compete rather less, cooperate more, reimagine success. Where a living's a right, not a gift or a perk. Where we're working to live, we're not living to work. Where skills are acknowledged and talents are freed, from each by ability, to each by need. Design a fresh start, where there's room to relax, to think, to create, to heal up the cracks. Agree some new rules so we all can control our workplaces, life spaces, world as a whole. A future where fear, hate and bullying stop. A system where people, not profit, come top. Surely this isn't too much that I ask. But until we achieve it, please make me that mask. Okay, so I'm going to do a poem now about something that happened in Swindon. I don't think many things that happen in Swindon are interesting enough to deserve a poem, but this one is, but in a bad way. There was going to be like a supported living house set up on a road in Swindon for autistic adults to live independently with support in the community, but all the people who lived on the street objected because apparently it would, increase crime in the area. And they successfully objected, which I think means the autistic people concerned dodged a bullet not having to live next door to wankers like that. But there you go. So I wrote a poem about it, and although mostly I do ranting, sweary, anti-Tory, lefty poetry, sometimes, thank you, sometimes I do return to the classic poetical forms. So this one is a villanelle. Yeah, that's a hooray at the back there for my fellow Villanelle fans. So, I won't explain what a Villanelle is, I'll just... what I'll do is I'll just warn you that if you hear the same line repeated over and over again, it's not because I'm too bloody idle to have written a different one, okay? It's because that's the requirement of the poetic form of the Villanelle, okay? So this is called No Autistics Here. No autistics in our neighbourhood. We just don't want those weirdo freaks around. We'd stop them moving in here if we could. We're decent folk, don't tell us to do good. We've paid our rates of several £1,000s for no autistics in our neighbourhood. You'd say the same in our shoes, yes you would. Our need to circle wagons is profound. We'd stop them moving in here if we could. We want our so-called reasons understood. When we think of them, we're sure they will be sound. For no autistics in our neighbourhood. Small minds made up and hostile ground is stood. Our empathy is lost, our coldness found. We'd stop them moving in here if we could. Perhaps we'll wear a white robe and a hood. Let loose the NIMBYs and their baying hound. Bark, no autistics in our neighbourhood. We stop them moving in because we could. On the subject of proper poetry, formal poetry forms, anyone here a fan of the haiku? Anyone who know what a haiku is? Yeah, okay, Japanese poetry form, 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. If you're a fan of the haiku, you may wish to leave the room now. Because I tried my hand at writing some haiku, and this is what I came up with. Remember, 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. Live your dreams, they said. Naked on the bus, it seems, is not what they meant. Here's another one to increase your vocabulary. Great word, temesis. Insertion of a swear word. Fan-fucking-tastic. You mean that? You may wish to Google it on the way home later. TMESIS. It means sticking a swear word in the middle of another word. I'm just absolutely delighted that there is even a word for that, let alone that it is to-fucking-mesis. Okay? So I'm here tonight with some of my good friends who are fellow members of the RMT trade union and work on the railway. So this is a railway haiku. Customer info. Your train has been delayed by privatisation. And a final haiku. Okay, so this haiku is about a headline, a news headline on the news website. And had I made up this headline, this would be quite a funny haiku. But I didn't. It's an actual genuine one, which means it's really hilarious. The screen grab is on my website if people don't believe me. Here we go. 575, remember the syllable. Best headline ever. Circumcision ambulance found after tip-off. Lordy, lordy. Okay, I detected a vibe earlier on. People want to some Tory hating poetry. But, you know, I'm kind of middle-aged now, so I'm not sure about that. When I was young and full of rage, I hated Tories to my core. But now I've reached a gentler age. I hate the fuckers even more. What shall I do on this fine day? I've so much on my list. A mix of work and rest and play, I'm sure you get the gist. And maybe I will write a rhyme, but my unwritten law is every day I'll spend my time mostly hating Tories. I'll go to work, some bills I'll pay, that's if I'm feeling rash. To help her through to payment day, I'll lend my friends some cash. I'll probably make my kids some tea and read them bedtime stories of homeless piggies, 1, 2, 3, and why they hate the Tories. I'll hate them for the bedroom tax, I'll hate them for the cuts, for living off the workers' backs, I'll hate their very guts. Look, see the depths to which they'll sink, they don't know where the floor is. That's why I'll spend today, I think, mostly hating Tories. What's that you say that hate's not nice? Please love thine enemy. Well, yeah, I tried that once or twice, it didn't work for me. And if you think that's not fair play, remember this you must. The Tories, they will spend their day mostly hating us. A history of evil done will justify my hate. I still detest the Tory scum for Section 28. Nye Bevan built the NHS, so he knows what the score is, and he said vermin come off best compared to bloody Tories. I'm sure I'll find time to revile that UKIP and its drivel, and I'll locate a little while to loathe the lonesome Liberal. I'll maybe pause to show regret for Labour's missing glories, but save my fiercest fury yet for mostly hating Tories. Our generation and here on, our class and those before us, grew up to know which side we're on. The side that's not the Tories. So when I die, do this for me, inscribe and sing in chorus. Here lies Janine, her life spent she, mostly hating Tories. I do like to progress in my poetry from poems hating Tories in general to poems hating specific Tories. And tonight that honour is going to go to Boris Johnson. So just over, yeah indeed, just over, I should have put pause for booing on my second stage tonight. Yeah, just over a year ago there was a debate in Parliament on Saudi Arabia, okay, and an MP asked Boris Johnson, the Foreign Secretary, that still sounds wrong, doesn't it? Boris Johnson, the Foreign Secretary. Asked Boris Johnson, the Foreign Secretary, why Britain is still selling arms to Saudi Arabia, given what Saudi Arabia does with them. Okay? And Boris Johnson gave the most morally vacuous answer you could possibly imagine. And he said, because if we didn't do it, then another country would. So I wrote this brief poetic reply. Boris arms the Saudis, they use those arms to kill. He says if we don't do it, then other countries will. So next time I see Boris, his nuts will meet my knee, and if I get arrested, then this will be my plea. Oh officer, I claim my act was for the greater good, and if I hadn't done it, some other fucker would. I'm going to do a long poem now. It's going to last 5 minutes, this poem. So, in my proper job, I am a night tube station supervisor. So I work for London Underground on Friday and Saturday night shifts. Now we've got all night running, which started last year. It's a great job. It's mainly a great job because we've got a powerful trade union and we kick ass and stick up for ourselves, okay? It's also a great... But in order to find it a great job, you have to find drunk people amusing. Thankfully they are. So that's good. Anyway, so I wrote this poem about some of the characters I've encountered since starting working on the night tube. I've worked on London Underground over 20 years. I've worked on the night tube since it opened a year and a bit ago. So this is called Night Tube. It's pushing 2 o'clock and Julie and Sue are going home after pogoing to a Buzzcocks tribute band. They wear the brand, they've got the t-shirt, got the buzz, falling in love, probably shouldn't have. Their youngest are old enough to be out with mates or out on dates so their mums can stay out late. This is one of those nights, what do I get? Love bites. Dean is Mr. Clean and squeaky until work's finished for the week and he and the other smart blue suits in shiny shoes, not boots, go for just a swift one, you know. But that was 8 pints and a chaser ago, and he thinks the last one might have been off. A gallon of banter and one-upmanship and sharing nachos with sour cream dips and cheesy chips. It's great, is this, stay late, get pissed, no last train to miss. Sandy and Casey, hands interlaced, trying to be discreet but easily seen, topping up in the corner by the ticket machine. Fingers lingering, kissing goodbyes till they drift away to their different lines and home to their respective husbands and or wives. Good night out, petal, yeah, just fine, nothing special, never mind. Wasted elastic, bagged in plastic, found by the gate on platform 8. Oh, sorry. Ooh. Left by accident or dropped as waste, suspect package or just suspect taste. If you didn't like that crop top, you could have dropped it off over the road at the charity shop, accepts all-night deposits and all-night withdrawals, trawler trawling through the shawls and drawers, hoping she scores. Nick's waiting for his daughter, silly mare. She's had too much to drink, but we've all been there. Can't work out the route from that station to this. Too pissed. And the friends who had her on are gone. Jump in a black cab, dad'll get the fare, rings in her ears and something in her hair, went out though she didn't have a stitch to wear. Phil and Will and their neighbour's son still haven't had their fill of fun. They're right fucking Larry, go on dare me, he's a real lawbreaker, he stopped the escalator. Lie on the platform, wave your legs in the air, you will if you dare, go on show us your arse, you've got class, you have, fucking chav. Sepp tripped as he stepped off the train. Split lip, tooth chipped, ankle sprain, mouthful of blood and words and pain, might complain. Wasn't even tipsy, hadn't had a sip. Unsteady on his feet, uses a stick but he couldn't get a seat. And now his heel feels even worse than his gum, but the medics won't come because he's conscious and breathing. Crying but not dying, so he's failed the triage. His friend is seething, giving it large, but he won't get him up the priority list. Not even pissed. Through the ticket gate comes May. It's been a long day and she's been a long way. But at least her dad knew who she was today. By the time she got him off to bed and got away, the day was dead. She'd have loved to stay, but her kids need her too. May has so many things to do, and now she's travelling with the nightclub crew. Nights out unravelling on the night tube through to the end of the line about bloody time. Degsy begs outside for the price of a ride, hoping to tap some happy party goer or return a nice little earner, hoping he wants to share some of their good fortune, spare some change for an unfortunate stranger. He'd like some milk of human kindness, instead he gets a shiner from some mindless violence. And so it goes on until the gradual, inevitable, almost imperceptible switch in flow from those going home from the lock-in to those going out to clock-in, to jobs, not the sought-after well-paid sort, but sorting mail, chasing tails, unlocking gates, clearing plates, early starts, good in parts, looking for something to read is Lionel. Too late for last night's West End final, too early for the morning papers, too early to be up at all, but he got the call. Hates getting up before the sun does. What sleeping does, waking undoes. Will the daylight do what the coffee failed to, as night tube turns back in to day tube? And I've got time for one more. So you know the disaffected youth, yeah? And apparently, you know, Labour did better than expected in the general election because of the disaffected youth. Great, excellent, but actually if you study the demographics, there is another group of which the political establishment needs to be equally afraid. Somewhat like the angry youth, but rather longer in the tooth, with feisty, bolshy, loud, uncouth, with disaffected, middle-aged women. Kicking our heels against the wall, plotting in the shopping mall, go tell them we're not playing ball. We're disaffected middle-aged women, armed with sertraline prescriptions, feminist magazine subscriptions, complaints of various descriptions. We're disaffected middle-aged women. We won't be judged on how we dress. We're going to save the NHS. We're doing yoga for the stress. We're disaffected middle-aged women with the leadership skills of Princess Leia and the kicks of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We don't chill out, we add a layer. We're disaffected middle-aged women. We're meeting to plan our strategy by the gates at school at 3:30, pumped up on hormone therapy. We're disaffected middle-aged women. So bosses and sexists, be afraid. We're not your skivvy or your maid. We don't care if our colours fade. We're disaffected middle-aged women, forming a gang on an estate near you. Fighting the cuts and misogyny too. Then holding time for a refreshing brew. With the disaffected middle-aged women. Thank you very much.